Now, the much-anticipated state capture inquiry began this week. Treasury's acting Chief Procurement Officer, Willie Matabula, was the first witness to take the stand, but it was the former Deputy Finance Minister, JONAS' testimony Friday which gripped the nation. He maintained his earlier stance that the Gupta family offered him 600 million rand and a position as Finance Minister. JONAS told the inquiry about his visit to the Gupta compound.
Mr. Duduzane had not suggested to me when we left Hyatt that we were going to the Gupta residence or that we were to meet the Guptas. As Mr. Duduzane passed the car, I noticed that Mr. Fana Hlongwane had also arrived at the Gupta residence. Went into the house, and Mr. Duduzane, Zuma, and Mr. Hlongwane led me into a lounge where we sat down and started chatting. Neither Mr. Duduzane nor Mr. Hlongwane suggested what the meeting would involve. Neither of them suggested that the meeting would involve any of the Gupta members, family members. We had not spoken for a very long time when one of the Gupta brothers walked into the room and sat down. I had not previously met any of the Gupta brothers, but I recognized him as one of the Gupta brothers from media reports. At the time, I did not know his name, as he did not introduce himself, but simply started talking. I have subsequently looked at press articles which depict the various Gupta brothers. Based on these photographs, I'm relatively certain that the Gupta brother at the meeting was Ajay Gupta. But I cannot exclude, based simply on the photograph, the possibility that it might have been Mr. Rajesh Gupta. Mr. Duduzane Zuma and Mr. Fana Hlongwane both remained silent while Mr. Gupta spoke, and they did not participate in the interaction which followed, although they both remained in the room. Mr. Gupta opened the conversation by stating that we know you, and that he had been told that I was being blackmailed by Mr. Hlongwane. I replied that that was not true. He responded by stating that that was not why he had called me.
Well, it's been a week of inquiries. The tyres of the South African Revenue Service are wearing thin, and it's going to be on its rims soon. All part of testimony at the ongoing Nugent Commission of inquiry into SARS. The Commission heard that tax compliance took a knock after now suspended boss Tom Moyane introduced a new operating model at the Revenue Collector. Details now from ENCA's John Bailey.
Tom Moyane's new operating model led to the shrinking of capacity in vital divisions at SARS and put staff under pressure. The operating model was Moyane's main project after taking over the reins at the tax collector. However, the Nugent Commission has heard that he was fixing a system that was working.
We saw this new model that we call an operating model as a simple reshuffling of chairs, with some chairs taken away and some chairs added. But there was no vision that we were made aware of that it was intending to serve.
The Commission was also told that former SARS Chief Operations Officer JONAS acknowledged that the new operating model didn't work. This despite him being head of the steering committee that worked with international consultancy firm Bain to introduce the structure. Witnesses also questioned why one of the main revenue collecting units at SARS, the large business centre, was shut down as part of the new operating model. The unit generated 30% of the revenue collector's income and dealt with large multinational companies.
A unit that is a division that is delivering such revenue, generating so much revenue for you, why would you do away with it? I don't know. Somebody help me, particularly if, sorry Judge, if one of your design principles spoke about increasing revenue and all of that, I don't know.
The Nugent Commission has called on Bain and Company to testify next week on its role in formulating SARS's controversial operating model. The Commission has raised concerns about what exactly the model was meant to achieve. John Bailey, Pretoria.
Just ahead on the program, Duduzane Zuma and his famous father in court.